So I want to talk about a very serious and potentially dangerous situation that has been taking place on board cruise ships that not a lot of people are talking about for some reason. And that is children and teens in the adult areas on board cruise ships like the nightclubs. Just the other day, I was sailing on a brand new cruise ship over in Europe, and I literally watched a 27-year-old man try to fight two boys between the ages of 15 and 16 at the 18 and up adult only nightclub. Now I'm going to give you the details of this story here in a second, but the crazy part about all of this is that all of it could have been avoided with just one move, and that is making sure everybody in the nightclub was an actual adult. What's really blowing my mind here is that originally I thought it was just one cruise line out there, which was MSC, the Mediterranean Shipping Company, that was having this specific issue with underage and minors being in the adult only areas. And well, at this point in time this year, I have sailed on a cruise ship just about every other week to every 2 weeks, and I have seen a lot with not just MSC, not just NCL, but even Carnival. And I'm going to elaborate, give you all of the details, the information, and the theories and solutions that I've come up with. Getting into the most recent incident that I experienced, I was on board Norwegian Cruise Lines, or NCL's newest ship, the other day, the Norwegian Viva, over in Europe. Beautiful ship, had a great time. One of the issues or gripes that I did face, however, was that there were a lot of underage kids and teens in the adult-only areas between the hours of 1 a.m. and around 5 a.m., just running around in the club, dancing like the rest of the adults. Now, this is sort of muddy waters, because you got to understand, over in Europe, 18 legally and, well, in some ways mentally, is their version of 21. You're an adult, you can drink, you can have a good time. And let's say here in the US, where you have 21, you're going to have 20-year-olds try their luck and they're going to start drinking, experimenting, and having fun. You essentially have the same thing with the 17-year-olds over there in Europe. There are also a lot of differences in rules and legalities over there. If you're 18, there are a lot of people there that are allowed to drink. If you're American, I know you can drink if you get approval from the parents. It is a very strange situation going on there, considering that Norwegian Cruise Line is an American-based line. And well, it causes a lot of conundrums. The biggest conundrum is that you have not only 18-year-olds, of course, that are in the nightclub, which is appropriate, you have them sneaking in their friends and what have you. And the biggest issue, I want to say, on the operational side for Norwegian Cruise Line at this point in time was that there was no security guarding the 18 and up areas. Now, to be clear, that conundrum in and of itself, with the security not being at the nightclub and adult areas, is not exclusive to Norwegian Cruise Line. I've said with MSC, they haven't had security there. And just because there's security there or not there, well, it doesn't really make a difference at times. Recently, I was on board the Carnival Venezia over in New York City, and they had security. However, there were plenty of 15, 16, and 17-year-olds that were able to just sneak right on in and go party till their heart's content. When it came to the Norwegian Viva story, however, from my understanding, there was a divide. There were some children that were from the Haven, that's the suites area, that were, according to many of the kids that I spoke to, as well as the older adults like the brothers and sisters, the kids that were, they were calling spoiled brats, were kind of just shoving everybody around and just kind of bragging about how their parents have money and they have money and blah, 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 blah. The other kids didn't like it. And well, just like that, we had an argument take place between, I guess you could call, the have and the have-nots. And just like that, a scuffle ensued. Well, there were people that were trying to fight, and there was a guy that I talked to that was 27 years old. His little brother was in that little argument there, and apparently somebody called his little brother a punk and kind of pushed him. So now the older brother inside of the club wanted to fight the Haven kids, and well, then you had security getting called and people getting held back. It was just a giant mess that could have been avoided by making sure that everybody inside that club was actually adults. Obviously, I'm not saying that just because these kids were minors and there were adults in the areas, that's why the fights happened. However, I do believe it is an additional cautionary situation that could just be avoided altogether. For example, earlier this year, I was on board the MSC Seascape, and they had some children that were there with their parents at the nightclubs that were around the age of 16 and 17. They were on the nightclub floor, dancing, twerking, shaking their booty all over the place. And there's a grown man that came and danced with one of the kids, not knowing that the child was underage because, well, there's lights, there's the fact that you can only see behind, and there's makeup and all this other weird stuff going on with the kids these days. And the parents didn't say anything until the grown man started trying to dance with the teenager. Brother saw it, got mad, went downstairs, punched the man in the face, and just like that, we had a fight. Once again, could have been completely avoided. Aside from the potential fights that could be easily avoided, you have two other issues that I believe you have to worry about. One of which being the fact that there are going to be underage minors trying to drink. We were all 16, 17 once. Maybe that is when you started drinking. Maybe it was 18. Nonetheless, my friends and I, back when I was 16, 17 years old, we would go buy $8 bottles of peach Amsterdam vodka. And well, let's just say on more than one occasion, I lost my lunch. And remember, they had Four Loko. There were a lot of people that they had some very bad experiences back before they were even 21. So imagine on a cruise ship, you have people getting drunk, kids getting drunk. Let's say they get to the point to where they are, well, wasted or whatever you want to call it. They get alcohol poisoning, got to get their stomach pumped. Let's just say that's not going to be a good experience for anybody involved, whether it's the kids, teens, or parents. By the way, just to quickly clear things up, I myself was not buying Four Loko and Amsterdam vodka at the age of 16 and 17. This is why we had friends and older brothers of friends. And, well, yeah, we were hanging around some pretty sketchy people at the time. Another issue that is going to be very disturbing for all of you, myself included, is that you do have from time to time underage teens that are in these adult-only areas and they are being talked to or talking to actual adults. You can have a scenario which I have seen before, and it was very disturbing to see. You're talking about a 16-year-old leaving the club to go to the room of a man that is 25 and up. And well, again, that is a situation that should be avoided altogether. I remember my science teacher. She used to tell me back in middle school, very wise woman, Dr. Donna James. She would tell us that the only thing that is open after 1 a.m. is McDonald's and legs. On a cruise ship, well, you have the nightclub, the pizza spot, and of course the same scenario, legs inside of cabins. Or, well, you do have people that are trying to sneak into the bathrooms every now and then. I'm just being honest. It happens. Obviously, there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing some bed wrestling every now and then, but it's sick and disturbing when you're talking about a minor and an adult doing these things on board cruise ships. This is how you get the horror stories, and this is how you get the issues that do take place. I do believe at that point, yes, it does fall down on the individuals themselves, especially the adult in this situation, but it also falls on the parents, and even more so, I do believe it could all be stopped altogether when the cruise lines are actually doing what they need to do as far as the security operations and making sure they're actually checking IDs and ensuring that everybody that is inside these adult areas doing all these activities are actually adults. I know I sound like a broken record here in this video, but I do want to keep repeating this because I'm just shocked, I'm surprised, I'm appalled, and well, I think it's disrespectful what's going on. I don't know if it's an issue of maybe a lack of security and staffing on board cruise ships, but the fact that I'm seeing this on multiple lines, and as I said, I've sailed with multiple lines this year. I think the only mainstream line I haven't sailed with this year is Royal Caribbean, but however, I think I'm going to take one of those maybe within the next month or two. We'll see what happens. But my point is, this does need to be stopped because when a situation does happen, and I do believe it is inevitable, and I'm talking about a big situation, they're going to look at the cruise lines and say, well, why did this even happen? How was a 15-year-old able to just literally walk, because they will have the camera footage, walk inside of the nightclub and have this type of issue occur? Because when the parents get involved, they start suing and all this other craziness start happening, or a child gets hurt. Well, it does to some degree fall down on the cruise lines. Not 100%, but I do believe you get my point here. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up. I do hope that all of you agree with me on this. Last time I talked about this specific topic, people were saying that I'm a killjoy and that I'm ruining the fun for everybody else. I think that's very disturbing that somebody's even trying to go down that path with this type of argument. I don't think it should be an argument. It shouldn't be a debate either. I believe the cruise lines, they need to do their part, and, well, should something happen after the cruise line has done their part, then it comes down to the individuals, the parents, or whoever else is involved. But that's what I got to say, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Of course, hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as usual, I love and appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you later. Take it easy.